Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Standard Statement. I'm Alec McChesney.
I'm Cortland Stark.
Let's dive into the news this week. Let's start with the story that I wrote this week, which was the several different universities had student government presidents react to Governor Greitens' budget, and they weren't very happy with it. They actually combined together to send a joint statement to the administration that said, hey listen, at some point we have to start taking care of college students because the education of higher education is the future of Missouri.
Right, and one of those students was actually our student body president, Brandon McCoy. In the letter, they kind of talked about the deep disappointment that they're feeling across the state because of all of these budget cuts. It could cut, faculty, staff, and programs at colleges across Missouri.
And it's interesting to get that reaction because for the longest time, anytime these cuts happens, you think, well, obviously Cliff Smart's upset.
Right.
But some of these students in Missouri, for instance, I talked to Katie Brown. She's the student government president at Northwest Missouri up there in St. Joe, and I talked to her for a little while. She's not ever going to live in Missouri again. She plans on heading to West Virginia for law school. She wants to run for president. Actually, I saw people when I tweeted out the story tweeting like Brown #2036 because that would be when she can run for president. But it's nice to see that they were so encouraged by this that they could go out and they could maybe make a difference, and I think that's good to see. But yeah, she said several different times, this isn't about me, this is about the future of Missouri and the future of these colleges. It's not even about the students. You're right. It's about the faculty, the staff, and some of the amenities that universities are able to offer.
Right. And they also talked about in the letter how the rising cost of college, as we all know, paying all these student loans and all of that, it'll get placed on the backs of students.
And that obviously is something that you don't want to see as things are going forward, especially with the difficulties with the budget for Cliff Smart. So tuition certainly could be something that rises here in the future. Now let's talk about this animal rights situation that happened this weekend. So is it the Cardin Circus? The Cardin International Circus came to JQH Arena over the weekend, and although there were a ton of people there that were ready to celebrate,
bad traffic.
there were some people there who didn't enjoy it as much.
Right. So the Missouri State's Animal Rights Club was out there protesting, and there are a significant amount of people, I would say, just out there protesting. But the owner actually, our reporter got to meet with the owner of the circus and talk with him for a couple minutes, and he said that everything that the protesters were saying is not true.
So it kind of seems like it's a give and take, like, hey, you guys misabuse the animals, hey, we don't misabuse the animals. I think we've got the story right here. He actually at one point even says, we don't necessarily have whips for the elephants. And I think that kind of gives it away, but you can look at it one way or the other, and I think there's always two sides to every story, and that was a good example of it. But yeah, in the paper you can see it, we've got photos of it. The amount of people that showed up was actually impressive for the animal rights protest. They had different signs, the Cardin Circus, they say 56 violations of the animal welfare. They even went with the hashtag not fake news, which anyone can appreciate nowadays. But it's interesting to see how these always play out. It's nice to see that nothing happened with it, that it was a peaceful protest, and they were able to do what they need to do, and so was the circus. So now, this isn't something that I particularly love to talk about, but one of our reporters, Nina Tadia, did a great job of tracking down the Tinderella story. It's what everyone's been talking about with Claudia Alley and Nathan, is it Nathan Mole? Hayden Mole. And it actually turns out that Tinderella does not want the shoe.
Right.
So what happened there? She talked to her and she said, I'm not that interested?
So they actually, Hayden and Claudia actually went to a class here at Missouri State. They stopped into one of, I believe, Andy Klein's class. And just to kind of talk about how they could potentially monetize their fame. And Claudia was not about it. Hayden actually thinks that he could go solo.
And I think it's an interesting thing because you think that if you're going to go viral, that's something you would want, right? And it's nice to see that other side of this where Claudia's like, listen, it was funny, I did buy in, I put it on Twitter, but now
I believe about her future.
Well, I believe her Twitter account is actually suspended because there were so many people that were following her right away.
She actually jumped from about 600 followers to 10,000.
I need 10,000 followers because then I would actually be able to monetize my great looks and my fame, but I can't do that because I didn't go famous because of Tinder. So, but it is good to see with that. Just you look at it because you have to say, oh, I wish that happened to me, but Claudia obviously does not wish that happened to her.
Good for her.
So you wouldn't go famous?
Not because of that. Anything else.
Well, that'll do it for me. I'm Alec McChesney.
I'm Cortland Stark.
This is the Standard Statement.